Hello and welcome to this video in which we will be taking a look at some introductory paragraphs for informative academic essays. And these paragraphs need some improvement. Okay, let's look at the first. Imagine a world with only one philosophical view of education, where there are no other choices and methods of instruction remain uniform. What kind of world would that be? Fortunately, we live in a world of constant changes and different philosophical views and thoughts. This is a nice hook. It's well worded. There's some very good vocabulary here. And the author grabs the reader's attention with a rhetorical question and then moves forward. In this essay, we will take a closer look at the modern technology method according to Célestine Freinet. Who was he? What are the main principles in this school of thought? And what are the possible benefits and disadvantages of this pedagogical philosophy? Well, the problem here is that this is not a thesis statement. Now, as we know, in an academic essay, your thesis statement is the statement, sentence, or sentences that make clear for the reader what the main premise of the essay is and outlines for the reader what will be written about, what will be discussed. This sentence is what I would call an announcement. It's not a thesis statement. Also, it ends with a question mark, and again, this then sounds like a rhetorical question, whereas it's meant to be a statement. So avoid making announcements such as, in this essay, we will, I will. Simply state the main premise, okay? Let's look at another. Following a good education is extremely important. The degree you earn will most likely be of big influence on all your future opportunities and your future career. Each country has its own unique educational system. These educational systems may vary in many different ways, such as duration, curriculum, and extracurricular activities. In this essay, I will dive into the country education by looking into the educational system, the nature of funding in education, and teacher requirements and status. Well, there are some very good examples of academic vocabulary here, and there's a nice general hook at the beginning. Following a good education is extremely important. However, there are some things we can improve on. Using you, I, or we in an academic essay of this kind is not appropriate. So it would be better to write, the degree a person earns will most likely be of great influence on all their future opportunities and their future career. Okay, and then, this follows logically. Each country has its own unique system. These systems vary. But here again, we've seen another announcement. In this essay, I will and dive into is far too colloquial. It's far too casual for an academic essay. So let's avoid making an announcement telling the reader what one is going to look at and just state it. That is, what am I going to look at? Just state it. So, in regards to South Korea, Suriname, Brazil, the United States, the educational system, the nature of funding, and teacher requirements and status are very interesting indeed, or tell us a great deal, let's avoid us, indicate a great deal about how education functions. Something more general, again, avoiding making an announcement, instead writing a thesis statement. Here we have one more. All around the world, there are different types of education. Well, the problem with this statement is, one, it's a sentence, so we need a capital letter at the beginning. And all around the world sounds a bit too casual. Let's say, all over the globe, there are, now again, this is grammatically incorrect, there are different types of education. or educational systems. And then maybe a linker. For example, in China, comma, everything is strict. What does that mean, everything? And that's a very strong statement to make, especially as it may not actually be true. I mean, what is everything? This is what is called vague language. Maybe it would be better to say, in China, comma, educational policies are stricter than in other countries, and the pressure may be high, while in Sweden, there is less pressure on academic performance. Saying in Sweden there is not a lot of pressure at all, again, this is far too vague. In what context? Pressure in what regard? And it sounds a bit too strong a claim, because again, if I were Swedish, I might take offense at this, saying, well, yeah, there is pressure. Or if I were Chinese, I might say, well, not everything is strict. So we need to change the wording to make it sound more academic and less vague. What makes a good educational system, and in which system do students learn to their optimal ability? Now, this is a lovely question, especially this element. Do students learn to their optimal ability? This is lovely academic language. Finland always seems to be one of the countries that ranks high in the different kinds of tests like PISA. How come? Again, this is far too casual in tone. And to say Finland always seems to be, again, it would be more academic and more specific to write something along the lines of, Finland appears on different sorts of tests, such as, and then we need to define what PISA is. Some people may think, what is it, the Leaning Tower? The Program for International, Student Achievement. On tests such as the Program for Student, and then in parentheses you can write PISA, Finland often appears to be one of the countries that ranks high. Why is this? And now the person has ended their introduction with yet another open question. This is not a thesis statement. What makes Finland's educational system one of the best in the world? Well, again, this tells the reader nothing about what the essay will actually look at. So we need a thesis statement, not a rhetorical question. All right, I hope this has helped, and thanks for watching.